Hello, my name is Caitlin Woodington, and today I'm going to be exploring the International Children's Digital Library. The International Children's Digital Library can be accessed at childrenslibrary.org, and it is a collection of digitized children's books from around the world. This international and multilingual collection includes over 4,000 children's books in over 50 languages, which can be accessed free of charge. Founded in 2002 by researchers from different disciplines in partnership with the University of Maryland's Human-Computer Interaction Lab, this library was designed to support the world's children in becoming effective members of the global community who exhibited tolerance and respect for diverse cultures, languages, and ideas by making the best in children's literature available online free of charge. The foundation pursues its vision by building a digital library of outstanding children's books from around the world and supporting communities of children and adults in exploring and using this literature through innovative technology designed in close partnership with children for children. The International Children's Digital Library underwent some major changes in 2021, and before we explore what the library looks like in its current state, I would like to take us back to what it used to look like in order to honor and learn from what the International Children's Digital Library did very well for so many years. They really understood the needs of their user community, particularly children. Children were very heavily involved with the building of the library as they were involved in the research stages as well as testing the prototypes so that the International Children's Digital Library would mimic the way that children both searched, browsed, and interacted with the library's collection in a way that was natural. So as you can see, this is what the homepage currently looks like, and this is how you access the collection. But this is what the homepage used to look like. And it was very much centered around the community of users. Users could have an account. There were forums available. There was information for first-time visitors. The books were curated into collections, but there were also things like what books were links to see what books had recently been added, award-winning books within the collection. It was very user-friendly and very accessible. One of its main features throughout was the ability to change the language in which the web pages were read in, the searches were conducted in. This is what the simple search would have looked like. As you can see, there is no search bar in this search because it was designed with children in mind and with the input of children. So they discovered that children search differently. They often might search based on the color of a cover, whether a book is make-believe or true, based on the type of characters within a book. And so they tried to make it so that children could use the search either independently or with minimal help from adults. Again, you can see here how the search and all of the features could be changed into the language that the user read in. Everything was very visual, so users could even search using a globe and search based on to find books from different continents. Or they could use the different categories that you can see, very visual with the different pictures describing what each category is. The search results would have shown the covers instead of just a typed text of the title. And then this is what the records would have looked like. And from here, using the record, this is how you would access the reader to read this particular book. The records were populated with Dublin Core to display the metadata. And the records in many ways are still the same. The metadata still uses Dublin Core. But again, you lost some of the links when the changes happened. So there are no longer links for the author, for other similar books. Users cannot add tabs, nor can reviews be read by other children. So if you were to click this, read this book, you would have been taken to this page, and this is the reader. And as you can see, it is very interactive. It used JavaScript. You could zoom in and out. You could change the view of how you read it. So you could click and it would either take you to a one page or a two spread page, depending on how you wanted to view the reader when you were reading the book. And throughout the site, there was this help button. So if users needed help, they could click this button and receive it. This is what a 2-page spread would have looked like. Users could make it a full screen, and you would read it very similar to how a book was read, but again, online. And one great feature was the ability to change the language that a book was read in. So you could read a book that was not in the language that you read and spoke. You could actually change it from its original language. And that was such a unique feature that really set the library apart. However, in 2021, things changed, and we actually almost lost this collection forever, because the founders announced that they were going to shut down the International Children's Digital Library after 20 years of operation. They had all moved on to different projects, the servers needed to be maintained and updated, and there was no one to do that. And because of licensing, they couldn't just relocate the books to other collections. So they closed down in April of 2021. However, soon after, the University of Maryland's Computer Science Department agreed to host a static version of the ICDL, and they were able to bring back all of the books by June of that year. So all over 4,000 books now exist within this static digital library. Unfortunately, it is a much simpler version. There is no longer any search features. There are no translations available. Books can only be read in their original language. And the community features are no more. There is not a help button. The only help is to email the directors. And the collection is for now here to stay as is. So it remains a great resource. However, usability has changed. So to browse books, you have to click on a book list. So you can either click the master list to see all 4,000 books, or they've kept a lot of the original lists and curation. So you can still look by books by cover or by color of the cover. If you go to a record, the records do look very similar. They're still populated with Dublin Core, but whereas in the past, most of the library, it used HTML, it used JavaScript, it now only uses HTML links. So these are just PDFs that have been linked, and you're going to have to manually click through, manually enlarge to read the book. So the International Children's Digital Library has changed significantly. However, the collection still remains. It is still accessible. However, children may need more assistance in accessing the books within the collection than they once did. These are my references. Thank you for watching. Please let me know if you have any questions.